Okay, for question 19, we're asked to find the domain of this piecewise function. So for a piecewise function, you just have a slight difference between finding your domain of your regular functions, and that's that you need to check both pieces individually. So let's look at the first piece of the function, this top one here. You can see that since you have the function 1 over x squared, you have the possibility of dividing by 0. So if 0 is in the range that that piece describes, then we know that that would not be in the domain. And in fact, since we have that one applies when x is less than 1, 0 is part of the less than 1, so that does not work. So we know that x cannot equal 0, so that is not in our domain. We can see before we even move to the next function, we have one piece that is x is less than 1, the other piece is x is greater than 3. So all of that stuff in between 1 and 3, including 1 and 3 themselves, are also not going to be in our domain. So I'm going to put brackets on that to mean that we can't have 1 or 3 in addition to any number in between them. And finally, let's look at our second piece here. We have 1 over x minus 4. Again, we have a fraction here, so we have the possibility of dividing by 0. You can see that would happen if x is equal to 4, so we just need to make sure that x being 4 is part of the domain of this piece. And it is. If x is greater than 3, 4 is certainly possible there, so we know we could not have 4 because that would make the denominator there 0. And that's all of our discontinuities, or things that are not in our function. So to write our domain, we need to write something that does not include any of those values. So we would write, we can have anything from negative infinity up to 0. We can't have 0 there, so we have to stop there. We can have anything from 0 up to 1, but not including 1, because we could not have the number 1. We couldn't have anything between 1 and 3 anyway, so we're not going to include that there. We can have anything from 3 to 4. Or we could not have the number 3, but anything between 3 and 4 works. And then finally, anything greater than 4, from 4 to infinity, also works, but we could not have 4. So you can see this is not including 0, not including 4, not including 1, 3, or anything in between, and that would be the domain of this piecewise function.